Satoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Today we will be studying research methodologies, first and third person research, and we will also be studying something about consciousness and life process. So, some idea you must be having about what we mean by consciousness and life now. What exactly is life? You know, just through science you cannot explain it. You need some amount of first person research. What is life? It is the streaming or the expression of consciousness through this mechanism is what is called life, isn't it? The manifestation of consciousness through this body mind complex is what we are calling life. So then if I want to better my life, if I want to have richer and more fulfilling experiences, I must work to a certain extent on this mechanism, on the subjective mechanism. So today the thing is, in yoga and Vedanta, the primacy has been given to consciousness always and the subjective mechanism. The whole understanding is like that, if you train the subject properly, you will get very good knowledge of the object also, of the objective world also. But if the subject is untrained, you do not know what you will get. To illustrate this today, I will tell you a story from the Kenopanishad. See what you can make out of this story. आपने अक्षरधाम देखा है? सभी ने देखा है? There they are showing this story in the form of वो laser display है ना वहाँ पर. In that laser display they are showing this story from the Kenopanishad. So it's the story goes like this. You see, once through a story format they are telling you something very profound. So please pay attention to the story. What is happening is that there is a periodic quarrel between Devas and Asuras in heaven, isn't it? And during one such fight, it so happened that the Devas won, and they were very jubilant. They had driven the Asuras out of heaven, and they were very jubilant and full of merriment and going to the extremes. And then it suddenly occurred to, you know who the Devas are? The gods, Agni, Varun, Indra. They are actually offices in heaven. They are in charge of each element. Very good people with a lot of good karma, they go and become the Devas after death, and they are put in charge of an office because they are responsible, they are good people. So it is not God, it is the gods, it is small g, not the capital G. So they were rejoicing with their victory, and then suddenly God thought that if this small victory, one small victory over the Asuras makes them so exuberant, then they will simply go out of control after some time. So let us teach them a lesson. They should know who is responsible for the victory, who is it who is actually animating their personality, their body mind complex, and what is responsible for their victory actually. So in order to drive home this lesson, this Brahman actually embodied, took the form of a yaksha, okay, a being, a very luminous being, and appeared before them at a distance. And as soon as the gods saw, they were wondering, who is this being? We do not know anything about him. ये क्या चीज़ है? इसको तो समझना चाहिए. So bright and luminous. And then Indra, who was the king of the gods, he told them, go and find out who this being is. He appears like a deva himself. And then when whom did he first send? He first sent Agni. Go and find out who this luminous being is. And Agni went there and he could not make out who this being is. And then that Yaksha asked him, ki aap kaun ho, who are you? And he said, don't you know me? I am Agni, I am the god of fire. I can burn down everything in this universe. I am very powerful, you do not know me. You see, the arrogance, the pride has come. And then this being said, oh, I did not know you are Agni, but yes, I have heard so much about your might. Can you do one small thing for me? Can you burn this bit of straw? And he kept a bit of straw in front of him. And Agni tried with all his might to burn down that straw, and he could not. Nothing burnt. And then he was very ashamed, ye kya ho raha hai, samajh mein nahi aa raha. So he just turned back. And then he came and told Indra that there is some mysterious power in this. One small bit of straw I am not able to burn. Then Indra said, okay, let us find out, and he sent Vayu. And Vayu also went and he asked the being, who are you? And the being said, but please tell me first who you are. And he said, don't you know me? I am the most powerful god. I can blow out everything in this universe. So you didn't recognize me? And he said, no, I didn't. Well, give me any challenge and I will meet it. And then he kept the same straw, that yaksha, and said, well, blow out this. And Vayu tried and tried and tried, the one who creates storms and everything on earth, hurricanes, but he couldn't blow out that bit of straw. Okay, this is a story just to give you a very profound teaching. And then he came back. He also got ashamed and came back, and he told Indra, there is something very strange going on. I am not able to do a very minor thing even. And then Indra thought, okay, let me myself go and see what this is about. So he goes there and he sees that this yaksha is standing there. There is no straw as such, and then he asks him, who are you? And then the yaksha, before saying anything, he just vanishes. But Indra does not leave that place. And he starts wondering that this must be some power which we are not aware of, which cannot make Agni perform his function, which is due to which the Vayu is not able to perform his function. Some great power this must be. So what could this be? And then suddenly there came Uma Haimavati, that is supreme knowledge, this Brahma Vidya, the embodiment of that knowledge in the form of a woman, a Devi. And then she came there, and then Indra asks her, ki, mother, can you tell me who this yaksha was who came and taught us this kind of a lesson? We couldn't do simple tasks in front of him. And then she pointed and said, you see, that was Brahman, the supreme reality. It came to teach you who exactly performs action. What in you performs action? Who is it who did all this victory against the demons and all this? How were you able to perform it? He came to teach you that. You see, if his will is not there, he couldn't blow that piece of straw. He couldn't burn down that straw. And she then told him that that was Brahman itself, the supreme knowledge came to you in that form, just to show you that consciousness is what activates the life mechanism. Consciousness is what energizes the life mechanism. It is due to the presence of consciousness that life is manifest, that action takes place, that anything happens due to that. Now, if you study your own mechanism, this is the teaching given by her to Indra, and because Indra received this teaching, he became the leader of the gods. The other gods, they did not receive this teaching, but they could see the yaksha, isn't it? So they were all, actually it is said that they became the devas because of the touch of this supreme knowledge. What they are trying to tell us is, first of all, they are trying to tell you the primacy, the importance of consciousness. Now apply this story to your own mechanism and see, what is it that enlivens your mind? Tell me, we have discussed this earlier. Consciousness is present, the reflection of consciousness falls in the mind, in your buddhi first, that is why the mind appears conscious. That reflection falls on the body, and then the body appears conscious. Through this mechanism, body-mind complex, you are functioning in this world. You are seeing the world of objects. So the source of everything is that consciousness, the activator, the one who enlivens, जो सचेतन करता है, सतर्क करता है, that which makes the mind function first of all, that is consciousness. So she is pointing out to this basic fact, which is what yoga and Vedanta is about. If you track the source of your true being, you will not get false values in life like arrogance, pride, all these things which it's not about struggling with the mind, it's about identifying the real I. Do you understand this? How did Indra and the gods get their lesson? By struggling with their mind and their thoughts, just by knowing the truth. What is it that is functioning through my mechanism, due to which I am able to act, due to which I am able to think. So, asal cheez ye hai. You see, knowledge itself, that is why they say it is the greatest purifier. If you just know what is it in your personality which is responsible for all activity, anything, you will know, you will not attach false values in your life, isn't it? You do not have to struggle with anger and lust and pride if you just know who you truly are. Ye asal cheez hai. So, this is the story which is telling you in a very simple way, dive deep into the source of your being first, and then the body mind mechanism can be handled like an instrument. समझ में आ रहा है? वो एक यंत्र हो जाएगा आपके हाथ में. Otherwise, you will keep on struggling all your life with this body mind mechanism which is not obeying you, which seems to have a will of its own, which you do not know how to control. All these unnecessary problems. You see, most problems are mental, isn't it? We are our survival needs are taken well care of. Your body is safe, but your mind, most of your problems are with your mind, and you do not know how the mind is functioning actually. So, all these problems can be overcome if you take the inside view, go to the source of the mind and go to the source of your identity, and you can handle your the whole human mechanism in a very efficient way. You become the master of this mechanism, otherwise you are like a slave of it. Have you seen this? When you get angry, if you are not distanced from that particular mentation, you become anger itself. You become the emotion itself. So, all these things can be controlled if you go to the heart of things. This is what the Upanishads actually are telling you. At the heart of any subject is consciousness. At the heart of any science is consciousness. You will encounter this problem. You see, the deeper you go into any science, you will see you are encountering the subjective phenomenon of consciousness. You have to answer it. And experience itself, you know, experience is always in the first person, isn't it? Is experience ever in the third person? First person is involved in the experience. So, without first person knowledge, knowledge of the subject and the instrumentation it is using, it is difficult to dive deep into any science. Please see this. You will encounter this problem as you go deeper and deeper into your research in your own fields, you will encounter this problem. The thing is, the word experience itself includes consciousness. See this, it is called a tautological statement, a kind of circular thinking. Now, if you ask me, I am giving you an example of what a tautological statement means. If you say, well, what is the proof I have a tongue? Ab aap bol rahe ho, that is only the proof. Is there any other proof that you have a tongue? If you do not have a mirror to see, what is the proof you have a tongue? That you are able to talk is the proof. So also that the fact that you are experiencing things means consciousness is at the heart of your personality paradigm. That is why you have conscious experiences. This is what they are hinting at. It's not a question of should I adopt a third person methodology or first person methodology. The two are always connected. This is what Vedanta will tell you. The two are always, you never saw anything purely objectively. It was always that particular object in your awareness is appearing as that object. See, before you start by saying, I am seeing this particular object, you must observe properly what is the nature of your experience. It is much better to say, in my experience, this is this particular object. Given my equipment, this is a paper just now. Given my equipment, I am seeing what I am seeing. In my awareness, experience is where? It is in your awareness. So, these are certain fundamental facts which you should observe. Before we start today, we are going to discuss research methodologies, third person research, and आपको पता है ना क्या है first class? I had explained it to you. What third person research means, what first person research means. You see, third person research, if you are trying to study a subjective phenomenon objectively, you will encounter a lot of problems. The problems were spelled out long back in 1966. Nobel Prize winner, Sperry actually, Nobel laureate. In 1966, he gave out this. Just observe this, the third person research and its limitation. He says, we are having problems with understanding consciousness because the inner sensations, feelings, concepts, mental images and the like cannot be weighed, measured, recorded, photographed or spectrographed or chromatographed or otherwise recorded or dealt with objectively by any known scientific methodology. तो ठीक बात है ना ये? You are not able to record it in any way. It's a subjective phenomenon altogether. Now remember this, when in Western philosophy, Western thinking mainly, when they are talking of subjective experience or consciousness, they are usually meaning mind function. In Vedanta it is not so, isn't it? We have been discussing Vedanta for some time now. In Vedanta it is not something to do, anything to do with mind. Mind is an object for consciousness to function through. Consciousness is completely separate from mind function, but usually in Western philosophy and Western science, consciousness means mind function. So he is saying inner sensations, feelings, thoughts, concepts, all this come under mind function. This you must distinguish between these two, because in these research methodologies आपके मन में clear idea होना चाहिए what we are meaning by consciousness and what Western philosophy is meaning by consciousness. Did you understand the difference? Then I will proceed. Consciousness usually as it is used in Western philosophy means mind activity. In Indian philosophy, in Vedanta and yoga, consciousness is not has nothing to do with mind. It exists completely independent of mind function. In fact, if you try to know it through mind, you will not know consciousness. It is that due to which mind is able to function. It is behind the mind. This idea we had discussed some time back. Manasa na manute yenahur manomatam tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam yadidam upaste. Kenopanishad. That which enlivens the mind, activates the mind, but you cannot know it through the mind. You can only know objects through the mind, isn't it? Because our mind is turned outward just now. So this is not an object in front of you. This is the supreme subject. So how will you know it? Third person research has this limitation. What is third person research? You are trying to understand a subjective phenomenon through objective causes and effects. That is third person research. When will you call it first person research? When you are trying to understand a subjective experience purely through first person analysis, through your own experience, then you will call it first person research. Now first person research methodology, this is where yoga and Vedanta have the greatest contribution to make. This is a very big science today. Try to understand this. In fact, the most authentic first person research methodologies are yoga and Vedanta. इसीलिए तो combine करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं science and meditation techniques. Why are they trying to combine? You have heard of the neurophenomenological method. It is trying to combine first and third person research methodologies, because in this method, what are they trying to do? They are trying to correlate third person EEG data with first person experience of a meditator, and they have been able to find very good correlates, a very good you can say a kind of communion between the two. So how they are doing this? You see, regarding this I would like to give you Alan Wallace. He is a famous American author. His observation, a potential revolution in the mind sciences is possible if we can integrate rigorous first person and third person methodologies in collaboration between cognitive scientists and contemplatives with exceptional mental skills and insights resulting from rigorous sustained mental training in observing and experimenting with states of consciousness. Why are contemplatives being used? Tell me. Even here in IIT, why we are called to do all this? Because you know, a mind which is trained in meditation and yet is able to observe that phenomena with mental training in meditation, you know, you get the ability to observe a mental state without participating in it. If you get this training, this kind of experience, what happens is you are able to deliver first person data, first person understanding, first person research understanding without mingling it with your thought, emotion, bias, prejudice, anything. This correlates immediately with third person data. समझ में आ रहा है आपको? That is why this combination method is being used. In fact, today this method, neurophenomenological method, is being used to study a lot of mind function, conceptualization, will, how exactly the human will works, and decision making, creation of a concept, how thought, mentation works, emotion, how does it work. To study all of this, memory, how does memory work, all of this neurophenomenological method is what is being applied. So, understand, we have to in a sense harmonize, combine this first and third person methodologies. The uniqueness of the Indian scientific paradigm, let me tell you that here, you see we are in a way conditioned. I also come from science stream, you know, we are conditioned in Cartesian dualism, you know, subject and object are totally different. In the Western mind, subject meant, what did Descartes mean by mind? I mean subject, he meant mind. Please see this, mind and body, mind and object are different, he meant by subject mind. If subject and object are different, he is saying mind and the world of objects are two different things, yes. But in Vedanta philosophy, the subject is who? Is it mind? It is consciousness. Consciousness and the object are not two different things. In fact, the object appears in consciousness, isn't it? This is what we are discussing. When will you say they are not two different things? Why is the object not a different thing apart from the subject? Because it has no intrinsic existence. It is dependent on awareness for its existence. In my awareness, it is that object. No object is independent of your awareness. Please say this. In your awareness, it is that object. Because it does not have this independent status, you cannot say it is a purely objective reality outside of you. What it is, you do not know. In your awareness, it is that object. This is what we are telling you. So, because this is the situation, your own experience we are analyzing, this is not another theory we are constructing. We are analyzing your own experience, normal experience. So, if you analyze it this way, you will see in Indian Vedantic understanding, the subject is consciousness and object is an appearance in the subject. Now, if something is an appearance in awareness, what status of reality will you give it? Will you give it absolute reality? You cannot give it absolute reality because it is dependent on my awareness to be that, to be perceivable as that object. So, what degree of reality will you give it? It is relatively real only. इसी को अद्वैत वेदांत में there is a technical term called मिथ्या. हम ये term बहुत wrongly use करते हैं, इसीलिए it has got messed up in our brain. ये संसार माया है, मिथ्या है, ऐसा सब use करते हैं in talking. It is actually a very technical term in Advaita Vedanta. If something does not have independent existence, it is called mithya. It is not absolutely existing as that thing, that is the meaning. You understand? So, try to understand what they are trying to tell you by all this is, there are degrees of reality. Only the subject is absolutely real because it has intrinsic existence. Everything else is dependent on that subject for gaining its existence as that particular object. In a way, the subject imparts existence, you can say, imparts consciousness. And that is why, actually if you read Shankaracharya's works, you will see he says the entire field of perception, there is only one thing, only Brahman exists. Subject and object are, you can say, like bubbles in that ocean of Brahman. Subject and object itself. You have created the division, and it is your ignorance that divides them into two. The object is always an appearance in the subject. ऐसा सब आपको मिलेगा. Try to understand the philosophical standpoint. It's something very logical and rational actually, if you see it as it is. So, this is something I wanted you to know before we proceed. ये मिथ्या शब्द कैसे आपको समझना चाहिए? I don't want to go into the details of superimposition because it will, I don't know if you will relate directly with it, but how you should understand it is, you see, from the standpoint of water, the bubble is mithya, isn't it? Because bubble is nothing but water with a name and form. But from the standpoint of wave, bubble is not mithya, right? Wave also has a name and form, bubble also has a name and form. Wave is more water than bubble. So, understand how the word mithya is being used. From the standpoint of water, bubble and wave both are mithya, but only from the standpoint of water. From the standpoint of Brahman, the world of plurality is mithya, because it is nothing but consciousness with a name and form in a particular formation, that is all. The essential thing is consciousness. This is how they are seeing it. ये भी हमने थोड़ा discuss किया था. From the standpoint of gold, The ornament is mithya, but from the standpoint of jewelry, the ornament is not mithya. समझ में आ रहा है? Same example, I am giving you 2-3 examples. So, try to understand how the two, you see, science and Vedanta, how they are trying to see this world, how they are trying to understand in what ways we can research. First and third person methodology means this, in what ways we can research into reality. There is an objective method, there is a subjective method. You have given full emphasis on the objective method through your science. That is very good. You must know everything about the world around you. Vedanta is giving you knowledge of the subject and from inside how the vision is going to appear. Once you catch the subject well, once you have gone deep into the mind, what will be your perception like, what will be your understanding like, what will be your perception of object like. This inside view subjective science gives you. So, दोनों आपको ले रहे हैं. You must be able to understand both. Now, in first person research, let me now concentrate a little on first person research. This novel method of neurophenomenological method, what it is going to give you is, I told you it is bringing a wonderful synthesis between the experience of the mind in meditation and a neural signal data recorded in third person perspective. ये कैसे करते हैं आप देखिए, several well founded hypotheses regarding decision making, will, free will, mentation, conceptualization, emotions, all this is being studied using this method. See, step by step I will tell you how this method works. Please pay attention. In studying volition, volition क्या चीज़ है आपको पता है? What is volition? Will. When you are willing something, what exactly happens? हम बहुत बार कहते हैं ना, हाँ मैंने सोच के रखा था लेकिन ये चीज़ नहीं हुई, ये मुझे करना था लेकिन मुझसे नहीं किया गया. Also, the will has failed somewhere. Now, from the inside view they are giving you through this neurophenomenological method, how exactly will is formed in your mind. You see, the very first step which they have found this in a very scientific manner, it is called Libet's experiment. I have taken it from the Consciousness and Cognition Journal. See, the first step in studying volition, for example, it was found that an inner impulse that goes to become volition or will start as a non-conceptual movement in your mind. What is going to become your will? आपका जो संकल्प है, before it becomes a sankalp, what is happening in the mind? It starts as a non-conceptual movement in your mind. Now, does this remind you of something, a non-conceptual movement? हम लोग जो वृत्ति कहते थे ना योगा साइकोलॉजी में, आपने अब थोड़ा बहुत योगा साइकोलॉजी सुना है, that vritti is this non-conceptual movement. Since this is a pre-conceptual movement in your mind, it is free of content. Please see this, it is not a whole thought yet, it is not a concept yet. So, it is free of content, but it is a definite movement in mind. Now, both meditators and third person EEG data have caught this. The neural signal analysis has caught this experience. Then the third point here, in a general sense, all behavior starts not even from thoughts, but from these pre-conceptual movements of mind without content. Just the mind shakes and breaks into vrittis as it were, then you start creating a concept, then you fix your energy and make it into a will. ऐसे आरंभ होता है आपके संकल्प, ऐसे आरंभ होते हैं. Gradually it becomes either emotion, volition, concept, intuition or memory. The fourth point you should note here is, thus conceptualization, is it the first step in behavior? No, it is the last step. See what an important idea they have arrived at. Conceptualization naturally becomes the last step. Thought, that is not the first step to action, that is the last step. उसके आगे बहुत कुछ हुआ है आपके मन में, you are not conscious of it, this has been tracked. You see, this is what first person research does for you. It throws light on areas which a purely objective research cannot track. Thus conceptualization is not the first step but the last step, and the trained calm mind can observe this pre-conceptual readiness to act. This has been taken, it is a paper on first person approaches in neuroscience of consciousness, brain dynamics correlate with the intention to act, from the journal I told you, Consciousness and Cognition journal. Now, the fifth point here for you to observe is, thus the first person perspective obtained from an expert meditator in conjunction with neural signal analysis contributes in a very major way to our understanding of the neural underpinnings of voluntary acts. It is a voluntary act. आपने संकल्प करके एक काम किया है, or you have thought of something, but what are the neural underpinnings of it? What happened before? How that act took place? You know, all this is very important in studying the human behavior, human personality, why crime takes place, how to instill values in our youngsters. In सब में इसका बहुत in coming to all kinds of research based on ethics, all this has become very important. It is an essential part of mind sciences today. Science, the science of cognition. How does it begin? How does thought begin in your mind? When does the sankalp begin? You know, if actually you ask a criminal why he did what he did, he will say, I was not at all in charge of myself at that time. But it has begun in his mind and he is being blamed for it. How did it begin? This you can know only through these methods like these. So then if you know the effect, you will know where to make the causal changes. You understand, where should the causal change be made? Tell me, the criminal, to lock up the criminal, is that what should be done? Why his mind became like that? Mind mein kya hua? Why the sankalp became like that? So these preconceptual movements, if they, this is what mind training and yoga is about, you know. You learn to will rightly, you learn to think rightly, you learn to direct your emotions to a particular level so that they are useful to you, they do not degrade you. This is the great usage of this science. So you understood the fifth point, how it helps you understand the underpinnings of voluntary acts. And so you can clearly see the enormous contribution first person research has to give to anything. If you do not know how you are functioning, there is no point in knowing how the world is functioning, you know. कल ही मैंने आपको ये चीज़ बोली थी ना, you will take a very superficial view of how to make changes in the world. If you know how you are functioning, you will know everything about how the world is functioning. जो ये research करते हैं ना, they actually bring out knowledge from within, because the two are not different. I am telling you, if you penetrate into the subject, you will get all knowledge of the objective world. In a strange way, people who are yogis, yogi type, actually they work only on removing everything from their mind, and all knowledge gets unfolded by that. It is not about stuffing knowledge in your brain. So if you catch this point, आपको पता चलेगा कैसे आपकी पढ़ाई improve हो सकती है. It's not just about stuffing things from outside. First, clarity is to be achieved in your mind. Make it clear, make it stable, make it very balanced, remove the unnecessary elements, create the right atmosphere within, and you will be able to retain everything. The knowledge comes out from within. You focus on something, it becomes part of your mind. You know, Vivekananda के life में ये सब है. वो just pages देखते थे and the entire information used to get soaked into his mind. So this is a possibility. Now, this is one of the very important uses of first person research, yoga and Vedanta. Another very important area where it can throw a lot of light is, आपने सुना होगा, hard problem in consciousness studies. Do you know about consciousness studies? See, I told you initially that any science you go deep into, you will come to the problem of consciousness. Even if it is a purely objective science, you will understand that the consciousness element in the human being, it comes into every situation and it has to at some point be analyzed, understood, studied. So, in what is consciousness studies is actually studying consciousness. But I told you many times in Western science, consciousness means awareness invested in the thought process, invested in the emotion, invested in the memory. This is how they are studying it. But in consciousness studies, they have come across this very important problem. See it like this, subjective experience, how does it take place? Conscious experience, simple conscious experience, how does it take place? It is a big puzzle to modern science. So, a whole branch, consciousness studies, is studying it. How do I experience? You see, now this video camera also is tracking images. It does not feel any image. You and I are feeling everything, is not it? You feel the beauty of a flower. You feel the apparatus around you. The feel of an experience, it comes due to consciousness. But how do you explain it? If you could find neurophysiological correlates, if you could track the neurochemistry of it, it would be an easy problem. You have an explanation to give. If you cannot do that, then it is the hard problem of consciousness studies. This is the problem. How do you explain conscious experience? Tell me, how do you experience joy? Tell me. Do you experience it as endorphin or serotonin, or is it a lightness, a bubbliness in your mind, a happiness in your heart? How do you experience joy? As a feeling. You do not experience it as a neurochemical. Unless we tell you it is your serotonin, this is your happy chemical, you do not even know it. So, experience is in the first person. Consciousness is responsible for that experience. How will you know that? आपको समझ में आ रहा है मैं क्या बोलने की कोशिश कर रही हूँ? How do you experience pain? Tell me. Do you experience it as cortisol? Then as agony. Again, it's a first person experience. So, if first person research नहीं होगा तो कैसे आपको पता चलेगा असल चीज़ क्या है? So, this is what they are trying. Hard problem means this. Please see this. How does a conscious experience happen? This world of matter and energy, how do I feel it as, how do I see it as I am seeing it? The feel of an experience, how does it happen? ये बहुत बड़ी चीज़ है ना, आप सोच के देखो. They are going to the heart of the matter actually. How will you explain a conscious experience? If you do not have neurophysiological or neurochemical correlates, and you do not have many times, how will you explain the situation? How will you explain a conscious experience? So, you know who coined this term? David Chalmers. He has coined this term hard problem of consciousness studies of New York University. So, this problem of this hard problem, we will go into it in a novel way. This can be explained actually only using first person research methodology, because who is the experiencer? You are the experiencer. You can give the best knowledge of what you are experiencing, isn't it? Now, we are going to analyze this experience. In Yoga Vedanta, you see how they are trying to do it is, they are throwing a lot of light on this problem, because they will immediately ask you what is more fundamental to your experience. Is it your body or your consciousness? Tell me. How do you experience your body or mind or thought? Is it in your awareness or outside your awareness? It is in your awareness, not outside your awareness. You can never experience it outside your awareness. Anything is experienced in your awareness, isn't it? So, then the primary thing is what? Your awareness is fundamental even to the thought process, the meaning is that. So, the research starts right from there. Because of the fact that all experience is in the first person, they have gone straight into the first person. This is the kind of research they have adopted. And by doing this, actually, you know, many thinkers have said, have recognized the validity of this kind of a research. You know, Eddington, he once said that mind is the first and most direct thing in your experience, and all else is only remote inference. Isn't this true? Mind is the first and most direct thing in your experience, all else is remote inference. So, you see, that is why this form of research goes like this. Now, before I proceed, let me just show you a few images here to drive home all that we have been discussing. You see, tracking the neurophysiology and neurochemistry of an experience is easy problem of consciousness. Now, suppose you are seeing, suppose this figure shows he is seeing a cat. What exactly is happening in your brain, the neural causes and correlates and neural representation of a cat is being produced there. A study of this, all of this is what is called the easy problem of consciousness studies. Actually, how do you perceive an object, do you know? You have studied it many times. What happens? Light is thrown out by objects, that enters your eye, goes through your retina, goes to the visual cortex in your brain, and there what happens? It falls as an image, but then how do you feel the reality of that object? This is where consciousness comes in, which science does not explain. You understand? देखिए ये same चीज़ इस वीडियो कैमरे के साथ भी हो रही है. It is not feeling any object. You are feeling the reality of an object. You, as I told you, you see the beauty of the blue sky. You see the beauty of a rose. You are able to understand things in proportion to each other. You are able to have a varied experiences in life through your senses. You experience each thing. The feel of something comes when your consciousness gets attached to simple neural data which is falling on your brain, isn't it? When your consciousness gets attached to it. So, this study, this is how perception takes place. The very fact of perception itself means consciousness is in some way involved. But here we are coming only to this much. You see, if you are able to find the easy problem, the easy problem is quite easy. You find the neural correlates and what all is getting secreted as a result, and you give an explanation. So, this is how you are perceiving this particular object. Now, the hard problem, when you come to that, you are tracking the nature of conscious experience. So, exactly how does conscious experience happen? What produces the feel of an experience, and without an objective correlate, can the experience be explained? Without an objective correlate. Did you see the intensity of these questions? See, these questions are very Vedantic in outlook. What is it that is responsible for experience? This very same question you will find in the Upanishads. Kene shitam patati preshitamana. By what does the mind experience? You see, similar question. They are putting a similar question. The research there is in understanding how the subject has contributed to the experience. You understand? And the research here is, how can I find the neurochemistry of it? We are combining the two methods in neurophenomenology, isn't it? You are combining the two methods. Now, if you have understood the hard problem, let me proceed to one fact here. If we are able to combine both these methods, Vedanta and science as much as it can give us, and Vedanta whatever it has to say about first person research, it will be a very productive study, because both of them are studying at two completely different levels. This is studying the objective front, that is the subjective front. If we can combine these two effectively, we will get a kind of supreme knowledge. But for that to happen, it is not enough just to combine third person EEG data and a meditator's view. It is not enough to just do that. It is important to take it up as a personal research. You must understand things, learn to understand things from within, bring a stability to your mind, culture your awareness. This may appear a little strange to you, what culturing awareness means, which means what? If you, at least for some time, remove thoughts from your mind, you will see the level of awareness in your mind goes up. You are more aware than identified with objects and thoughts and emotions and all this. This is what I mean by culturing awareness. So, if you adopt these techniques, you will see, you get an inside view of all these problems, and you will yourself be able to contribute to this research in a very deep way. If you are not able to do this, a confused kind of understanding of all this remains in your mind. So, some involvement on your part is required for this, and if you are able to culture awareness in your mind, which means what? Not just identifying with mind activity, but standing apart and seeing it. If you are able to do this, you see, this is what will happen to you in any activity. High self-awareness. Self-awareness means this, not just the investment of your awareness in the thought process, but its ability to stand apart. You see, a simulation shows that it affects decision making, coordination and conflict management in your practical life. This is how it will help you. You see, their decision quality increased so much, 68%, if there is more awareness than identification in the mind, if there is more self-awareness. Look at the coordination, which was 27, but it goes by 73%. High self-awareness teams, conflict management, you see how they have been able to handle it, 65%. So, you see low self-awareness teams are not able to do this. They have studied this scientifically. Did you get the point? A certain amount of meditation every day, if you are able to distance yourself from your thought process, from your emotional whatever fantasies, you will see that you are able to control situations better, you are able to take better decisions. The more the awareness, the more you are in charge of your life and your personality, the better will be your work. And the lesser the awareness, the more the confusion in the mind. Even conceptualization, thinking process will not be clear. तब लगता है ये सब वेदांत हाई फिलॉसफी है, कुछ प्रैक्टिकल नहीं है, ऐसा सब लगता है, थियोरी है. If your thought process is very clear, you will see it's an obvious fact. They are just analyzing your everyday experience in a very deep way. If there is कल मैंने आपको 5 states of mind दिखाया ना एक slide. If the mind is confused, you know simple knowledge also appears something too much. And if the mind is clear, enormous knowledge will just come into your mind by itself. It gets unfolded from within. So, the mind is the essential thing. Awareness, increasing awareness in your mind. Actually yoga, this is what it is about. Increasing the level of awareness in your mind, not just the level of identification with thought, emotion, all this. If you can increase awareness, the success rate in anything will be very high. So, this is of great practical use to you. Now, we will discuss this particular process of standard what is called first person research methodology. What did I tell you, that yoga and Vedanta gives you very good standard methods. The most common method which is given towards self knowledge, self awareness is this Shravan, Manan and Nididhyasana. आपने सुना होगा ये. You have to hear Vedanta properly, after that you have to think about it repeatedly, and you have to apply some kind of a Nididhyasana, which means a kind of meditation technique, and become meditative, and you will get this knowledge. Now, ये exactly क्या हो रहा है, I would like to show you in the form of slides, because you cannot miss certain vital points. If I just explain it to you, I am afraid that the impact may not fall on your mind. I can just explain the thing to you, what it is, the process of self knowledge, but if you see it also, I think it has a better impact. Now, you see, the first thing I told you is Shravan. These are standard Vedantic techniques used to go into first person research. See, we already determined first person research, the most authentic techniques are found in yoga and Vedanta, isn't it? The standard method given towards this is Shravan, Manan and Nididhyasana. Shravan is what? It is hearing Vedantic text. देखिए अब तक आपने शायद आत्मा शब्द भी नहीं सुना होगा. अब इस कोर्स में आके आप थोड़ा थोड़ा सुन रहे हो. Some idea is coming into your mind, who I am, what my actual being means, what is the subject, some kind of a dharana is coming into your mind. Now, this is what Shravan does for you. It creates the right vrittis in your mind. I am sorry, I am explaining a Vedantic term through yoga psychology, but well, usually we do not do this. But because you are familiar with yoga psychology now, I am using this. Shravan means creating the right vrittis in your mind. Manan means repetition of those vrittis, application of mind actually, to create the right sanskar backup you will require to dive within. And Nididhyasana is actually, you can say it is making the mental mode conform to reality, making the mental mode such that it is able to intuit reality. Nididhyasana technique means this is a meditation, it is an upasana technique. Technique I should not say, Nididhyasana actually means meditation. Now, how do we go into this? You see, actually what is happening in your mind is what this slide is showing you. You are turning the rays of your attention inward. Usually what is the kind of attention you have? It is mainly outward turned, hai na? we are studying outside objects. Here what are they trying to tell you? They are telling you focus a little on the subject, on the self, because first person research involves this. You need to know something about the subject. Now for this, attention has to be turned inward. Ab dekhiye, the difference between the two I have put on that slide. The difference actually lies in the lens of your mind. Are you seeing that? Whether you are going to converge the rays or diverge the rays of your attention depends on the structure of your mind. How is your mind trained? Usually the rays are always very divergent. Now the structure of your mind should change if they are to converge within. Structure of your mind should change का क्या मतलब है? Now you should be able to tell me. Yes, see the neural networks, neuroplasticity, very good. The way your mind is functioning, उसमें थोड़ा change आना चाहिए. If I have to get the ability to turn my attention inward. आपको पता है उपनिषद में एक बहुत सुंदर मंत्र है, कठोपनिषद, परांचिखानि व्यथृणत स्वयंभू तस्मात् परान पश्यति नान्तरात्मन कश्चित् धीरा प्रत्यगात्मानमैक्षत आवृत्त चक्षु अमृतत्वमिच्छन्. इसका मतलब है our senses are turned outward, mind is also turned outward usually, and so we take joy only in outward objects. But some dhira, understanding the nature of experience, kaschit dhira pratyagatmanam aikshat, he turned the gaze of the mind and the senses inward. This turning inward, ability to do this will come only with practice. इसीलिए तो थोड़ा थोड़ा meditation suggest कर रहे हैं. Turning the rays of your attention inward. If you practice enough, you will see you will be in charge of your mind in a way. Whenever you want, you can have focus. It is not dissipated. If the focus is constantly dissipated, distracted, you will become restless in no time. And well, it harms you in a very big way. In your studies, in everything. You require more effort in everything to achieve success. If the mind is under control and trained, your attention is trained, the content of your mind, you see the structure of your mind has changed due to practice, due to good habits, due to a disciplined life, everything becomes easy. Achievement becomes easy in any field. So, turning the rays of mind, attention inward. Now what are we trying to focus it on? We are trying to focus it on the knowledge of the self. So you see, who am I? This is something you must catch here. What exactly you are meaning by I is the light of pure consciousness reflected in the mind, which pervades in your buddhi. It generates empirical awareness, our sense of being. This is technically called the jiva, the entity that designates itself as I. आपने कभी ऐसा सोचा है? What do you mean by I? What is the picture that comes in your mind when you say I? Tell me. To understand the significance of this, what we are giving you here, tell me first what is the picture that comes in your mind when you say I? क्या आता है मन में? Body and name. Very good. Your name and form comes in your mind. That is all. How will you know who is the real I in you? Name and form always changing, isn't it? What is the unchanging thing in you? What is the permanent thing in you? आप असल में क्या हैं? You are that. How will you actually find it? You see, you are more mind than body, isn't it? Mentally you are more. You are more awareness than mind. If you actually stop thoughts, this will become very obvious to you that you are more awareness than mind. There is a fatal error in cogito ergo sum. आपने सुना है डिकार्ट का? I think therefore I am. Is this true? Think and tell me. Are you there only when you think, or because you are there you are able to think? If you have yoga, you will immediately understand, even if I stop thought, I am there. Not that I am there because I think, because I am, therefore I think. Difference is very simple. You see, cogito ergo sum means I think, therefore I am.
If you're not there, you cannot think. If you think means you're there, right? You are there. Right?
Yes, That is one way of looking at it. If you do not think, are you there or not? Tell me that. When you are not thinking, if
no, then the phrase should be, I think, if I think only, therefore I am.
This is, see, cogito ergo sum means, I think, therefore I am. This will immediately, corollary of this would be then, if I do not think I am not, is this true I am saying? This is not true, which means what? The essential thing is your existence. Because you are existing, you are thinking. Now what is existing? You as awareness are always there. Thoughts move in and out of that awareness. Only if you stop thought for a few microseconds at least, you will understand this immediately, that awareness is more fundamental to the thought process. If you do not think, you do not vanish. आप में वो योग बल हो तो आप ये immediately समझेंगे कि if I don't think, I remain over. Thoughts come, move in and out of my awareness. Not that only if I am thinking I am there, and if I do not think I am not there. So a little amount of yoga, meditation is required to understand. Stop your mind for a few seconds and you will understand this. If you do not stop mind, you will not understand this. समझ में आ रहा है? See, that's why I told you, Freud, all these people, Jung, if they had really met a Buddha or a Vivekananda, their whole theories would have been different. People who have worked at transcending mind, you just meet them and your whole, there is a paradigm shift in your thinking, because these things become obvious when you stop mind. You have the capacity to stop your mind, and then you will understand awareness is primary to mind function. That is why you, in a sense, you should be saying, I am, so I think, not I think, therefore I am. समझ में आ रहा है? Yes.
What is the difference between converging inward and introversion? And
converging inward is introversion. If the rays of your attention are converging to an inner source, your mind is turning within. If the rays of attention are dissipated towards an outer source, you are losing your attention. You understand? Why I say you are losing your attention is, slowly you will see the object will take charge of those rays of attention. You will lose control over the situation. You got the point? Now, here you see the level of research here in this diagram. If you have understood what I said so far, you will understand the light of pure consciousness reflected in the mind is your sense of being. You feel alive, you feel aware. It is due to this light of consciousness reflecting in your mind. This is what you call I. Technically it is called the Jiva in Vedanta. Our sense of I arises from here, the I sense. Now what Vedanta is telling you is, if this I sense is kept very pure without attaching it to many things, it will lead to its source. It's called pure aham pratyay. आपने रमन महर्षि का नाम सुना होगा? This is the kind of technique he adopted. The pure aham will lead to its source. To generate the pure aham is a task unless you have those sanskars, which means what? Our aham is invested in so many things. मैं ये हूँ, वो हूँ, वो. All that the world imposes on you, you go on identifying with that. Track and see what you mean by I just now. It is constantly changing, but you are identifying bit by bit with everything the world expects you to be. That is why self-knowledge is difficult. If you can keep that I pure, that sense, इसीलिए ये दे रहे हैं आपको. You understand? Try to understand the real you is not invested in anything. This is most obvious. ये आप पकड़ सकते हो with a little thought. So you must always learn to understand the relative importance of things. When you are, even if the picture of your body appears in your mind as I, you must know that you are seeing a picture, an objective view of something you are identified with at present. Nothing more than that. That is not the real you. Even the mind, your thought is not the real you. That which is behind thought, the awareness, that is more you than anything else. लेकिन ये चीज़ जो है ये पकड़नी चाहिए, सिर्फ सुनना नहीं. अभी आपने सुन लिया, dwell on it and you will catch it. It is your own experience, this is not a philosophy we are giving you. All the time you are awareness only into which thoughts are coming and going. You give those thoughts so much importance, then you superimpose them on objects like body and you identify with it and you create all the confusion. The I always remains detached. You are always that. Tattvamasi Shvetaketu. How many times it is said in Chandogya Upanishad? You are always that. Just analyze your experience, your existence just now, you will come to this. So, if you have understood this, you will understand this next question. You see, this comes in Shankara's commentary on Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. He says, as fire does not burn itself, so the self does not know itself, and the knower can have no knowledge of a thing that is not its object. Therefore, through what instrument should one know the knower, because of which this universe is known, and who else should know it? How will you know the knower? This is the question he is putting. You usually know something if it is an object of perception. How are you going to know the knower? Now, this is what we will be studying in the next 2 slides. So, I have put this question here. See, he asks the question and then proceeds, Shankaracharya. The answer, very beautiful answer which Raman Maharshi gives you is, in order to realize this truth, we need to eliminate the thinking mind, to dissolve it in the universal self. Why is he saying this? I told you, awareness is behind thought. It is because of the presence of awareness that thought is getting enlivened. So, you cannot know it just through the medium of thought, isn't it? Can you know awareness just through your mind, through the medium of thought? Tell me. Why? It is behind the mind. If it was in front of the mind, you could know it. As I had, what is in front of me, I am able to see it. What is behind me, I can't see it. So, this is what is happening in your mind. Your mind itself is functioning due to awareness, so it can't reveal awareness. We have to adopt some technique to do it. What is the technique adopted? Vivekananda actually gives you a number of techniques if you read his works. Here I have just boiled it down to a few from Yoga and Vedanta. How to know the knower. The preparatory is shutting out the modifications of your mind. Why should you do this? Otherwise your awareness will keep getting invested in the thought process. इसीलिए this is a technique in yoga. First of all, shutting down the modification of your mind. इसका मतलब क्या है? Too much of thinking, too many vrittis, you must stop that. Meditation में पहले आप यही करते हो ना? What do? As soon as you sit in meditation, you try to stop your thoughts. So, this is the first thing. The second thing is working to intensify what is called the reflected awareness in your mind. You are that awareness through which you are thinking. If you remove thought, the awareness should get intensified. Your sense of being will be very intense if you have practiced some real amount of yoga. So, this is a way of culturing awareness. Practically it means intensifying awareness in the mind, and for this meditation upasana techniques are used. So, this is all preparatory. Actually how you can know the knower is, Vedanta will tell you, even all these are preparatory steps. You can go directly to the source if you only clean that lens. The lens of your mind, if that is very clean, your very aham pratyay, jo I sense hai, that itself becomes like a mirror. It will lead to the source. You see, generating the pure aham pratyay will reflect the pure self. The lens of your mind becomes a mirror. This is how, by inquiry into the I, you can know the self. You will understand the glory of this only if you understand, if at the present moment you encounter the inability to do this. Why is it when I ask I, who am I, the answer does not come immediately to me? आप बोल सकते हो? See, when Raman Maharshi or Vivekananda ask who am I, they are in that state immediately. हमारे साथ ऐसा नहीं हो रहा है, क्यों? We don't have that pure aham pratyay. It is already invested in many things. So, the mind is not becoming a mirror. When I ask I, the I is already identified. I am so and so, such and such and such and such. All these are my characteristics, this is my. ये वेदांत क्या आपको करता है ना, it introduces you to your real nature, introduces you to yourself, you can say. आपको आपका ही परिचय दे रहा है. The real you is this pure aham pratyay. उसके ऊपर बहुत सारे impositions आ गए हैं. If you distance yourself from them a little, you will be able to trace yourself back to your source. So एक बार अगर इसका glimpse मिल जाए, you can handle this equipment very well. You will live safely in this world. You don't have to worry so much about what your mind is doing. You understand? इसीलिए this self knowledge is so very important. You see, it is tracking the real you. Even if it had no practical use, this knowledge, please see, it has enormous practical usage, but even if it didn't have, just to know yourself, isn't it important? Just to know who you truly are. You know everything in the world, but you don't know yourself. The essential thing you have discounted. So understand, this is a very deep level knowledge, and you can know the knower. By doing this, what happens is, you see, this is again from the Chandogya Upanishad. Yo vai bhuma tat sukham na alpe sukham asti bhumaiva sukham. That is why you should know it. What they are trying to tell you is, the infinite consciousness that you are, that is the source of your happiness. If you just reach that stage, you will understand where exactly happiness comes from. What is happiness, bliss, you will understand that. As long as you are working only with the mind, identified only with the mind, you are only getting very, not even filtered, you should actually say third order derivative of bliss. And that is why you are constantly searching for bliss in outer objects. थोड़ा ये ज्ञान आ जाए हमारे जीवन में, you will understand happiness is a state of mind, and the source of happiness is even behind the mind. We are studying happiness, isn't it? From where it is coming, it will become very clear to you. So you will be able to function independent of objects, independent of all the things that the world throws at you. Otherwise, you are carried away by them. You get involved in them in such a way, you are not able to extricate yourself. All of our problems are mainly due to this, because there is absolutely no knowledge of the subject. So ये चीज़ यहाँ let us clear what is it exactly that they are trying to say. Now I will make 2-3 points and we will take up questions on this. See, where we are erring in our understanding of this is, our whole mistake is to take consciousness as an adjective to the ego. I am conscious only if I am conscious of something. ये हम करते हैं ना? We don't study consciousness in itself. We have not thought about it even. If I am conscious of something, well, जैसे अभी आपने कहा, if I am conscious of something, well, then only the word consciousness comes into my mind. This is the primary mistake. If you are not conscious of something, if something has not yet become a thought in your mind, still your awareness remains over. Please see this. Your awareness is fundamental to mind function. Before you become conscious of something, you are always still full of consciousness, your awareness itself. This is one fundamental mistake which we make, due to which we are not able to get this knowledge. Another thing is the fatal error to think that, well, only if I think, I am. If I remove thought from my mind, I don't know what will happen. अगर थोड़ा सा योग आपने practice किया हो, the way we are training you, not just shutting out thoughts from your mind, actually concentrating at the heart center with a certain amount of focus. If you have practiced it in that way, you will see awareness remains over. You will yearn for that state of removing thoughts from your mind and remaining over as that awareness. आप जितना करोगे उतना आपको पता चलेगा the truth about all this. And the third point which I would like to make here is what you are calling I. That the word you most often use, मैं, that is nothing but a reflection, a shadow of that consciousness which you are truly. You are attached to that shadow. It is a representation of who you truly are, a representation in this world. And you see this I actually comes into operation, I as the ego comes into operation only when it comes in contact with objects. इसीलिए आप ऑब्जेक्ट्स को ज़्यादा 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 चाहते हो. Objects should, you start accumulating, hoarding objects because your I is invested in them. You feel it is increase of objects is increase of I. The fundamental mistake is where I have identified my sense of being with my ego. Ego is nothing but a shadow of who you truly are. So thoda ye atma jnana aap mein aa jaye, the ego will learn to be what it is. It's a shadow, it will remain as a shadow. It's a functional entity in this empirical world, in this transactional world. But your own real identity is always something far deeper than this. Far deeper, far more majestic, far truer. It is this real you which is giving you everything that you seek in life. A deep balance, a kind of inner dignity will come into your life. And most of all, problems will go out of your life. You will be able to focus life energy on the things that really matter, not on unnecessary problems, emotional problems, this and that, wrong decisions, not on all this rubbish, which is the creation of an untrained mind. समझ में आ रहा है? This is how self-knowledge takes you to a very deep level of your personality, changing you from within. And a well-developed being in this way interacts wonderfully with the world. Any situation you can handle, any person you can handle. So, any problem you can handle. So, self-knowledge, it is so very important in building life. Now, today's research methodology, we have covered two forms of research, third person and first person perspective. You have any doubts on all this? The glory of self-knowledge, have you been able to capture at least through all these explanations? जो ये वस्तु एक important चीज़ है, ये हमारे जीवन का एक अंग होना चाहिए, ये आपको समझ में आ रहा है? Or is it just a thing of academic study? Now course will end after another 2 talks. Will your study of this end? मैं पूछ रही हूँ. Is this, do you feel this is important or not? Tell me.
Yes, it is important.
It is vital to your proper functioning in life. Someday, maybe after many years, you will understand the importance of all this which is being given to you now, because this is a knowledge which does not change. If it was knowledge to do with your mind, it will keep changing. This is the knowledge of the real you. The real you does not change. आपकी सत्ता है ये. This is the actual truth about you. This knowledge does not change. So this knowledge will always be of help to you. Vedanta यही करता है. It changes the reference of your I from the false I to the true I. So then you remain intact no matter what experiences come in your life. You will live it far better at a deeper level, more mature level than if you don't have this knowledge.
So these techniques that we've been discussing from so many classes, the only way is meditation and turning inwards and seeing what we do. It will come to us naturally, or is there a proper path? Because it is for us, it is very difficult to even get there close to it also, I feel.
Yes, I will not say the only technique is meditation. Meditation is required because our mind is so scattered. There are people who have penetrated into this path just through logic. They crash into reality just by knowing. It is possible, but this is the standard technique of meditation given for minds like ours. And there are very fixed meditation techniques, which if you want, in the next class I will give you some. Meditation techniques in yoga and Vedanta we can discuss.
Yes, because this is all, I totally understand each step, how it is made, but how to practice it.
Yes, very good. Practical question she has asked. Exactly what do I do when I sit? How do I control my mind? So it's a very structured techniques have been given. लेकिन ये चीज़ क्या है? See, I can give you the techniques like this. I can explain it to you. You have to do it. You have to do it. There are different types of techniques. Objective meditations are there, subjective meditations are there, expansion of awareness meditations are there, aham grahopasana techniques are there. Aham grahopasana means actually tracking the I. How do you know the real I? So many methods are there. Upasana techniques, Vidyas, and of course in yoga, Enormous techniques are there. So, we will discuss a few in the next few classes. Remember this, see this last slide which I showed you, yo vai bhuma tat sukham na alpe sukham asti. This has a very significant message to give you. If your mind has expanded to a certain extent, you will understand what joy means. If the mind itself has not expanded, it is busy with circular thinking, small type of thinking, you will lose joy in life. That is why actually, because intuitively you understand this, you run to places where your mind expands. You go to the Himalayas, you go to ocean fronts and all this because of this reason. So, how can you keep this mind expansion technique by yourself without having to go here and there? How you can do it is, on an everyday basis, dwell on great things in life, on an everyday basis. सिर्फ टीवी पे मन ना रखे, सिर्फ मोबाइल पे मन ना रखे, great thoughts, the lives of great people, great ideas, and meditation on objects which are wide, like oceans. See, I put all these images here, a sunrise, a sunset, meditating on the Himalayas, or a deity whom you love, Om, a symbol, a holy symbol. If you dwell on these images, you will see a certain calmness naturally comes into your mind, a certain control naturally comes into your mind. So, this has impact on your mind, and this is one of the techniques used in meditation. Deliberately should dwell on this, because the nature of the mind is, if it is in an expanded state, it will be happy. If it is in a contracted state, it will become like a tornado, you know, too much energy, very small space, it will create problems for you. So, keep it expanded like that, always connect with great things in life and you will become great. Yes.
Conceptual movement in mind.
So that is a vital point. See, we discussed this pre-conceptual movement in the mind when we were discussing the neural underpinnings of voluntary acts. Volition, how does it take place? Before you actually will something, what is happening in your mind is, it has been found, you see, mind is not something you can see, isn't it? Brain is something you can see. What is the difference between brain and mind, tell me? कितना अब ज्ञान हुआ है देखें? हाँ, very good. Brain is the hardware and mind is the software. The two are very connected. Your hardware is working due to the software. Please see this. And what he is asking is, what is exactly happening in the mind? I told you there is a pre-conceptual movement before something becomes a thought, before something becomes your will. That pre-conceptual movement क्या चीज़ है? It is actually a vritti, a modification of your mind before a complete thought is formed. Your mind gets modified. You know, your mind is modified by two things, the exposures from outside, the memories from within. When you are making a sankalp, it is based on some prior experience, isn't it? So, before it becomes a complete sankalp, the mind will keep changing like this, undergoing a certain movement. This movement of the mind has been neurologically tracked and identified in the brain through neural signal analysis, and even meditators report this, that yes, before I think a complete thought and convert it into a will, my sankalp, before that my mind has started wobbling. तो यहाँ से शुरू होता है conceptualization. Now if I don't know this, you know, we start from behavior, not even from conceptualization. We start from behavior. Why the person's behavior is like this? अरे starting point हुआ है, mind ऐसा काम किया है. The mind has undergone all these changes, and that is why that is the result. So without this mind science, this level of study, you will not be able to change behavior. You will only make what is called symptomatic cures, not deep level causes. You will not be able to unearth even. So first person research methodology is so important.
like when we are talking about this first research methodology, the researcher who is carrying out this methodology should converge at one solution, right? I mean, everyone who should come at one solution. And Buddha comes to Shunyavad.
See, very good question he has asked. Different people, different philosophers have given different philosophies, and people have given different techniques, different methods. असल चीज़ क्या है मैं आपको बोलती हूँ, the state reached by all of these is the same, but the interpretation can be very different. ये जो शून्यवाद कह रहे हैं बुद्धिस्ट, it is पूर्णवाद in Vedanta. It is शून्यवाद from the standpoint of what? Tell me. From the standpoint of thoughts, you are removing thoughts from your mind. It is पूर्णवाद from the standpoint of awareness. Awareness remains over when you. तो ये चीज़, ये terminology they are using as पूर्णवाद वेदांतिस्ट, and they are using as शून्यवाद. State एक ही है. समझ में आ रहा है आपको? So this is actually a saying only that every philosopher will differ from the other philosophers in terminologies, but the state of experience will be the same, almost the same you can say. Especially all these subjective techniques. After all, everyone is researching into the same subject, isn't it? अच्छा ये मुझे बताइए, subjects अलग हैं क्या? Are there different subjects? Is consciousness in the plural or in the singular? Singular always. There are not many मेरे अंदर एक awareness, आपके अंदर एक awareness, उनके अंदर एक, ऐसा नहीं है. Consciousness is one. It is not limited by your body and mind. The same consciousness is functioning through different bodies and minds. Since we are identified with body and mind, I am I and you are you. It appears like that. You are identified with your name and form only. But the reality about you is consciousness, that is the same in all. So we are more united than different. That is why you see, immediately you relate to Vedanta. I have seen this in many places, you know, that you give mind management, maybe 50% will relate to it. You give just techniques of how to have positive emotions and all that, maybe just 25%. You give Vedanta, hardcore Vedanta, immediately they relate. Even very young people relate immediately, because in some intuitive way we know we are not just body and mind, we are functioning through it. समझ में आ रहा है आपको? So what is most obvious is what is being structurally studied in a proper organized way. That is why I told you Vedanta ऐसी कुछ philosophy नहीं है जो बहुत difficult है, योगियों के लिए है, सिर्फ ऋषियों के लिए है. It is an analysis of your existential experience just now. Right now you are that. You have not seen it closely, that's all. Time is up, huh? Yes.
You told that expansion makes mind happy and contraction brings in
Yes.
toil, but many philosophers try to consider it at a single point source of energy.
No, that is attention has to be brought to a certain point. I am talking of awareness. You understand? Mind or awareness का expansion होना चाहिए. Attention has to be brought. What is attention and awareness? Tell me the difference. ये हमने discuss किया था. Awareness is one of the undercurrents of attention. Awareness directed by your will is what is called attention. अगर आप attention fix करो एक point पे, the underlying awareness will expand. If your attention itself is dissipated, it is not fixed, there is no chance for that awareness to expand. समझ में आ रहा है? If you go deep into your mind, you will understand all this, what I am talking about. एक connection है इन सब चीज़ों में एक connection है. Today you hear and keep. One day you will see that this is an actual fact. That is why you are asked to direct attention to one point, but expand mind and awareness. ठीक है? Shall we stop here? Time is up.